Alrighty, here we are. How's it going? Yay!
I was almost waiting for someone else to chime in. So I was like...
Someone like behind the couch is like, it's good.
Speaking of couch, we've been really looking into getting a new one. And now I just get so excited. I was telling Philip, I was like, should I just list this one? And he's like, can we just go sit on the other one first to make sure we like it? I'm
it's
like,
so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. That's thank God for him.
It's
right?
like when something gets planted into my brain, I get laser focused
Dude,
on it, and I'm not rational.
That's crazy that you are saying that, because I was just thinking about this when I was making my coffee earlier and I put stevia in it, and then I was getting ready in the bathroom and I was just like, I feel like I just should not use stevia anymore. Should I go dump my entire coffee? Like, I need to start new. I cannot use it anymore. And I like convinced myself that stevia is horrible for you, which it totally could be. Who knows? Like 15 years, they could come out with studies and be like, whoops, sorry guys, it's actually horrible. So now I'm like, I can't use it. Like, I don't even want that coffee in there, I swear.
See?
Yeah, it's so weird.
Like, once it's downloaded, it's out.
Yeah,
Like,
it's bad for me. It's poison. I can't drink that.
Like, I actually want to just put everything on hold. I have to go sit on that couch
Yeah, exactly. After this podcast, we're going to go sit on the couch. Oh my God.
That's not going to happen. But we are today recapping some things that we've learned in our 20s, because I just turned 30. It's on the near horizon for Madison.
Yes, we got like 2 months.
And I feel like back in my mid-20s, when I got into listening to podcasts, I would listen to a lot of these types of episodes.
Yes.
And it would be so inspirational to me. And I feel like I would learn so much from other people's experience and try to implement it into my own life.
Yeah. And I also think that there's something about that, like maybe on a, I always say this, like on a primal level, and I hope that people understand what that means, or like some ancestral level of when we used to sit in circles and speak to our elders. And I can't remember the last time I actually spoke to my grandparents, let alone my mom, about such things like these. So I think that it's really helpful for everyone. Yeah.
Okay, so
here we are.
We? Also, low key, guys, I have something in my left eye. So,
dude, the amount of times that Tess has something in her eye every day.
Okay. I have to tell you. Okay, so shit gets in my eye every day, and Madison's like, I'm going to buy you goggles. And I honestly think that would be a good decision for me.
Yeah.
I'm spraying sunscreen, which spray sunscreen, gotta go. Can't. But we went to the beach, spur of the moment. We didn't have our sunscreen bag on us. So we borrowed some spray sunscreen from a friend.
Dude, I would just sit under shade.
The wind, there was no shade. None of us brought an umbrella. Like, we were
fuck.
super underprepared.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, I'm spraying the sunscreen on Philip's back, but the wind direction is unpredictable. Into my eye.
Dude, as soon as Mother Nature sees you spraying it on Phil, and they're like, all right, time to kick the wind in Tess's direction. Yeah, exactly.
It was so fucked up. Like, chemical sunscreen in your eye. That shit burns.
Yeah, it's not right.
I'll be washing dishes directly in the eye. I'm like, how?
It happens at least one time a day. And I notice it because it never happens to me. So I just think, what's going on here? Yeah, what technique is different? How is the soap getting in her eye off of the dish?
It's like, yeah, exactly. It's like, does that ever happen to you? We had a whole episode on that, I think, where why does that shit happen to me? If you also get things in your eyes, you got to tell me so I don't feel so alone, because everyone else seems totally fine. Yet every day, something.
No, I imagine when I told you that I wanted to get you goggles, you know how you see those really little kids? They're really little, maybe 1 year old, and they need glasses, but they can't wear glasses yet because they'll obviously fall off. So they strap those goggles. Yeah. That's what I imagine you in. It's cute. Yeah, I know.
Or at least like
maybe just when you wash dishes.
We got dish gloves, guys. We're so off topic right now.
I know.
But we got dish gloves.
Dish gloves could be a lesson.
Part of your learning in the 20s.
Yes.
Get a pair of dish gloves.
Yes, one of my best friends, Nina, she was on the trend well before I was. I remember her with her dish gloves washing them, and I just feel like, that's so lame. And she'd be like, no, trust me. And now I get it.
I get it.
My nails don't get messed up. My hands don't get dry.
Doesn't get dirty.
Yes. Moisturized cuticles for life.
We do a lot of ground meat in this household, and it accumulates a lot of the fat. And when you're like washing the pans at night, I would be like, okay,
it's a layer of
all
fat
over me. Yes. And now it's not.
Yeah.
Just saying, get some dish gloves.
It's
That's
true.
tip number 1.
Yeah. The most important. Okay.
Okay.
You want to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go first. So this is not in any particular order. Tess and I, obviously, this list could go on for centuries, but we're not going to do that just to spare everyone. So number one for me, again, not in any particular order, is posture. Have good posture. All right. Work on your posture. I remember in high school, or maybe it was junior high, actually, I had a band, I think it was band teacher, music teacher, whatever. And all of us would be sitting in our chairs like this, you know, because it was cool, or it was not cool to sit up straight. You just look like a nerd, which is lame. And now my shoulders are rounded because of that. And now I think posture. I think that thought about 10 times a day, and it has me relaxing my shoulders, back, core drawn in, everything aligned. And it's helpful. Mm-hmm. I don't have any, I mean, there's probably a lot of factors that go into this, but I really don't have any back pain or body pain whatsoever. And I think if I could also attach this, is just having body awareness. So important. Yeah. And thank God we were movement teachers, because we established this in our 20s, and now it's just going to continue to get better because our knowledge is increasing and we're getting to know our bodies more. And I think that it's just really important to be aware of yourself and your body.
Yeah. And like, if you're not even sure how to develop body awareness, if you're like 20 years old and you're like, I've never done anything physical in my life and I don't know where to go, I would say, if possible, go and start taking things like Pilates classes where they're going to adjust your alignment and help you recognize those things. But if that's not in your wheelhouse, do like online workouts, like YouTube, free stuff where they talk about alignment. Be like at home Pilates, and like sort through and listen for the cueing, because that can help so much. If you don't have like alignment awareness or even just engagement awareness, like where do I feel this? A lot of workouts won't be as effective. And then even just finding yourself seated in your posture or standing in your posture won't be second nature for you, because you don't know how it feels to be in your body like that.
Right. No, that's really good advice, because I even think about it on hikes. And even on walks, I think about how, not to a crazy degree, but it pops into my head of just how I'm placing my feet onto the ground, because I want to prevent injuries for my entire life, obviously, but also as we get older. I don't want my form to be off because I screwed around in my younger years.
Well, this is where you build the foundation, right? This is where your patterns start to really set in. And obviously, you could adopt something tomorrow that's not great for you. Like, I could get a job where I'm on my computer a lot, right? Yeah. And then boom, there goes my posture.
But then I even think when you're on your computer, when we go to lean in and our neck moves forward, I always notice when I do that, and I think, okay, how can I mitigate this right now? Does the text on my computer need to be bigger? All right, probably. How can I set my computer up just to situate it correctly so that I'm not putting my head forward like this? Because we've seen people that are older than us that have that forward neck situation going on. We don't want that, all right?
It's also just really painful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then as soon as you feel, and I notice, like, I have a lot of tension in my shoulders. I sound like I'm literally 1,000 years old, but I have a lot of tension in my shoulders sometimes. And I always, as soon as I feel that pain kick up, I always relax. So then just having that, I don't know if it also ties in with like listening to your body too, because I do a body scan all the time just to make sure and be like, am I hungry? Are my shoulders aching? Is my neck forward? Like, what's going on here?
Good for you. Use that as a tip. Body check.
Body scanning.
Okay. Pulling up mine. Of course, guys, I have 4%.
Okay, ooh, I said we should, on the edge. We needed some excitement today.
Yeah. Don't second guess yourself so much. Trust your intuition.
Yes, good one.
If you're like me, easier said than done. But I think if you catch it in your 20s, I mean, if you catch it at any time, that's helpful. But especially early on, like while you're really developing your sense of identity, not second guessing your decisions is going to help you feel more confident in making decisions in the future.
Right.
It's all practice.
And what is the saying that we've adopted and we say it a lot?
Don't worry about making the right decision. Make the decision right.
That's right. Good job.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah, exactly. Our kids will be known for that.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too. I think that's actually like a very solid saying. Right?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's like widely known, but it's widely known and for ourselves in our world. So I'm going to write it.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Next one for me is, and I don't know, I feel like these are lessons and reminders and just pieces of advice. Like, it's everything. Okay. So power of perspective. So I have a recent example. This is a very small example, but I was hiking this morning and the sun started coming up and it was in my eyes. And I was thinking, oh my God, like the sun's in my eyes. This isn't good for my eye health. I should be wearing glasses, whatever. Long list of something that I'm doing wrong. Okay. And then I thought, okay, let's just switch the perspective on this. You're balancing your circadian rhythm. You're getting your vitamin D for the day. This is possibly good for your eyes just to build the strength. I'm not looking directly into the sun, but you know, I'm looking down. And then I just thought, now I don't even feel bad about that. You know, like it's a very small example, but I use that in a lot of areas. Also, tacking on to that one is zooming out. Because a lot of times I'll notice, and this has to do with perspective too, is just I notice that if I'm dealing with something and it feels uncontrollable in the moment and really overwhelming, I need to pause, again, body scanning, whatever it is. And I zoom out so that I look at the problem from like a bird's eye view in a sense. And I think about all the other things in my life that are potentially more positive than this one thing that I'm dealing with. And then it doesn't feel like this is the end of the world. Like I stop catastrophizing because I've zoomed out a little bit and I look at the bigger picture. Again, changing your perspective.
Yeah. I could have applied that so much better in my past week that we just lived. I'm like, ooh, sometimes life can feel like all that pressure's on, right? Everything is coming to a head at one time. You need to analyze everything all at once. And then it just feels like, okay, this is too heavy, too much. How am I going to get through this? But if I just peeled back a little bit and been like, well, this is just one instance in the grand scheme of things. And like in, you know, what are my real priorities in life? Like what actually matters to me? That doesn't fall into that category that much. So I shouldn't put as much stress and emphasis on it.
Exactly.
Okay. Let me pull some up. Don't be afraid to make changes.
Good one.
Yeah. Whether it's where you live, your job, who you're dating, who your friends are. I think that I resisted change a lot in my 20s, and it caused me a lot of confusion. And I don't regret anything like that, you know, but I just think that I could have embraced it better than I did, but I've learned that lesson now.
Right.
Like things are always going to shift. You don't have control over that. So embrace what's changed and like figure out what to do from here.
Yeah. I think that that's a really important one because I have learned that lesson, but I think that I'll continue to learn that lesson over and over again because change, although I know it's inevitable, is challenging a lot of the times. And I think that that's what scares me about it. Even though I know that I'm well equipped to handle it, but then sometimes, you know, you just doubt a little bit because you don't know what's coming next. No. But that is a really good lesson. I, again, will be learning it constantly.
And I feel like that saying applies here too. Like, don't worry about making the right decision. Just make the decision right. Like the change is the decision, right? You've got to decide, am I going to roll with this? And what happens next? And I feel like if you are worried if like, oh, fuck, but like I'm changing this, like, is this the right change to be made? Just, you got to go somewhere. You got to make a move. Yeah. And if you don't make a move will be made for you.
And also I think it makes it more painful and more challenging when we resist the change, which I think we brought up before this. Maybe it's just resisting in general. Like, that's a lesson for me, honestly, is try not to resist so hard. Like I resisted everything, I feel like, in my 20s, and sometimes I still do. And I'm like, no, this is just the flow of life. Like, you're okay. Like, keep going down the river. We got it, you know? Like, it's going to be okay. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I need to resist and control every little aspect. And it's like, all right, let's not. That's not going to do us any good here.
No, opposite of good.
Yeah. All right. So another one for me that could go with the resisting theme is, this is a big one, I feel like, is like being kinder to myself and like more gentle and not forcing things, which again is a lesson that I've learned in my 20s, but I'm still learning that because I feel like on autopilot, I am hard on myself, and that just is my narrative in my brain. So coming from a more relaxed and gentle place, I think has been really beneficial for me. But it's challenging, and I don't do that every day, but I have to check in. Yeah. Body scan and all the above. Yeah.
Yeah. Echoed that for sure. Something I can add to that is like, even beyond like, don't be hard on yourself. Like, don't let others be hard on you.
All right.
Like, take criticism, take advice, use it for the best, right? Some people are more wise than you or are more experienced than you, and you could use a little nudge in a certain direction.
Yes.
But like, if others aren't, like, they clearly don't have your best interests in mind, don't put up with that shit. And I'm not saying you have to fight back, but like, just remove it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Heavy on the removing of that kind of energy.
Fucking bye.
Yeah. I fully agree with that.
You know, like, I think we could all like kind of picture what that would look like. A friend who just like rags on you all the time. And you're like, why are you picking on me? Not that happened to me, but I just like, I see that and I'm like, what is your thing here?
I also wonder
why are you what is the point of that comment? Like, if I were that person that's getting like commented on, I'd be like, you're out. Fucking see ya. Until you clean up that behavior, don't bother coming back.
Yeah.
You're cool, but not cool enough for that shit. So bye.
Totally. No one is cool enough for that shit, honestly.
No, that's my point.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that one.
Okay.
That's a good one.
I've got one to add. It doesn't really add, but it kind of goes along with making change.
Okay.
Close chapters thoughtfully so that you can be at peace with yourself and with other people. Because like, anytime I've closed a chapter in a way that maybe like my future self wouldn't necessarily agree with or approve of, it's something that I revisit a lot.
Okay.
Where I'm like, that's taking up too much of your brain power. And I've had to go back and close out chapters with people, like multiple people I've had to like actually pick up the phone and talk to.
Yes, it's true.
Which maybe I'm, you know, kind of like rare in that scenario of like, not a lot of people would do that. Maybe they would. I don't know. I don't have perspective on it, but it's like, I prioritize people and relationships so much in my life that if it doesn't end in a way where I feel like we both feel pretty good about it, then it's going to replay, or they're just going to keep popping up in my thoughts. And I just have to make sure that like, okay, we're good. And closure is not always an option for people. But if you can access it, it might help you just clear up energy, clear up space, and you can proceed into whatever's next for you.
Yeah, that's good. I was actually thinking about closure the other day because I was thinking about it in relation to my parents' divorce and how that happened when I was 16, over 10 years ago, and how I feel like I've pretty much moved past it. Like, it used to be when it was brought up, it was really painful and it was hard because I was like the first heartbreak that I experienced. And I was thinking about closure because I never really talked to my parents about the divorce, specifically my mom about it, because our communication isn't as strong as it is with my dad. And I was thinking about it because in order to have closure with that and forgive her because she's not willing to talk about it openly, it's on me to provide the closure for myself because I'm the one that's hurting. And so I thought about it through a lens of compassion for her, of like, that was the decision she wanted to make and she had to make that decision right. And so if I'm looking at her through a lens of, okay, that decision maybe it was just coming from a place of like, who knows, she was going through menopause, who the fuck knows what was going on, but like having compassion just for her as a woman who's going through life for the first time in her 50s in this marriage with kids and didn't know what to do. And then it helped me feel better about it because I was like, oh, now I understand potentially why she did that.
Wait.
And it was nothing personal, like on me, even though I took it really personally because I felt that she broke our family up.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Ready? We both learned the same lesson. We also both come from divorced families.
Yes.
Your parents don't have it all. You guys know our families are everything to us. So if we open up about family stuff on here, it's never.
Oh, yeah.
It's just things we've learned.
Absolutely. Right? And I would proudly say this to anyone in my family and they would receive it in this manner.
Of course. My family is very communicative. Like, there is nothing off the table. Sometimes it's like, oh, too much.
Yeah. And I've learned a lot. And I've said this in previous episodes that I've learned a lot from Tess regarding communication, and I am that person in my family now, in my immediate family, that communicates for everyone. Like I am that bridge now.
It's a heavy burden.
It is, dude. But at least I have you to, you know, to hold and support me and be in my fucking corner.
Yeah. And you don't always get it right. So when you are like the bridger, you can't put pressure on yourself to like nail every interaction. It's just like, there's a lot of elements here and I'm going to try, but I might not fully succeed. Right. But like if I don't hit it on round 1, maybe I'll hit it on 2, maybe 3, maybe 8. I don't know.
Yeah, but it does some good every time. Yeah. Yes, it does.
Okay. My point was, your parents don't have it all figured out. And the less you expect them to, the more peace you'll find.
Oh yeah. That's a really good one.
Like we're all human. And I was thinking about this just because I turned 30. I don't feel any different than when I was 16.
Right.
And I'm not saying that I haven't matured or anything like that. No, but like in my body, I don't feel different. Like I feel like I've always felt this mature, or I've always felt this independent. Like nothing has dramatically changed from when I was like in high school to now in my perception of self, other than more confidence, more sure-footedness, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
But I talked to my grandma who's about to turn 90, and I'm like, Grandma, because she came down, she's like, I can't believe you're 30. And I'm like, I know. And she's like, I can't believe I'm almost 90. And I'm like, I know. And I was like, but you don't feel 90, do you? And she's like, no, I feel your age. And I'm like, see, that's my fucking point.
I'll
is like,
cry at that.
Your parents don't feel any older. Just because they have more responsibility than you doesn't mean that they like magically have it figured out. Like we're all having this experience where we're fucking figuring it out, and that's tough shit.
Yeah. And it's helpful to think about the fact that all of us are going through this life for the first time.
Yeah.
So
everyone ease up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And trust me, I have to remind myself of this almost weekly. So it's not like I know it and then all of a sudden I'm better now. No, I have to remind myself.
This is all a practice.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Hit me with one.
All right. Okay. This is a simple one, but also really powerful. I feel like is getting in tune as a woman with your menstrual cycle. Okay. Fertility awareness method, knowing when you ovulate, all of it, hormonal profile on an individual level, know it. Get to know your body on that level, and you will feel like you have superpowers. And I think, yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, I feel like you'll be less confused and less frustrated with your body when you know what to expect.
Right. And being aware of what your symptoms are telling you and not being scared of them or ashamed or getting hard on yourself or maybe not knowing how to take care of your body. Just educate yourself, gain the knowledge, and move forward with that.
Yeah. And if you have access to healthcare that can provide insights via testing, do it. So then you know, like, I feel like there's so much power in knowing. Sometimes it's a dark hole and you just like, you're going to get overwhelmed.
Yes.
But for the most part, if you can figure it out and then you're empowered of what to do next, there's so many resources online. We read you guys like period repaired manual on our podcast.
Yes.
There's so many amazing resources right at your fingertips where if you are struggling with something hormonal, which I did, I know Madison did too, you can fix it. Like it's not, for the most part, it's not like a tunnel. Like there are ways out.
We're going to be going through our whole lives with our hormones, and it's going to continue to change. So I feel like having knowledge at the beginning, like I even read about what menopause is like because I just want to be prepared, you know, and not to say that my experience will be the same as women that I've read, but just to have this knowledge of some natural remedies that I could take when I'm having hot flashes, or so I'm not caught off guard when things start to change when I'm in my 40s and think that I'm fucking nuts because your hormones go offline. No, I want to be as prepared as possible.
Yeah. I have one on here too that talks about, what did I write? Because I mean, I've gone through quite a rigorous hormone journey, and it's obviously not over yet.
Who hasn't? The people who haven't.
Bless your soul.
No, can you believe
made it out alive.
It's crazy.
Prioritize your health. Your hormones and the future you dream of depend on it.
That's right.
Right? So it's like the level of stress you reach on a daily basis is going to affect your hormones, and your hormones are going to affect your skin and your weight and, you know, your brain health. And then that's going to have an effect on how you feel about yourself, and how you feel about yourself is going to have an effect on your future. So if you're not taking care of this stuff, what do you expect? Like,
right.
It's really easy for someone like me to sweep my health under the rug because I'm a people pleaser, and I'm like, I want to do the best job possible, and I want to make you happy, and I want to make my boss happy, and I want to make Philip happy. And it's like, I'll give it all. Like, here it is.
Mm-hmm.
But then if I don't take care of myself, then it's like broken record shit. How do you expect to be of any good to any of these people?
Yeah. And then I think that's where like the gentle reminder comes in, is this life and how you treat your body is trial and error. And I think that putting effort into that, you really cannot go wrong. If you're ignoring it, that's another conversation to be had, and you need to work on that. But, it is trial and error, which is really frustrating. And I think that that's also a reminder or a lesson for my 20s, is that it is going to be trial and error, and you need to have patience with it, because if you've been doing some behavior that hasn't been healthy for you for a while, and then you change that behavior and you're doing something that's better, it's going to take some time. It just is going to take time.
Yeah. Like, we're talking like 6 months to a year, maybe 2.
Yeah. Sometimes that just is the way. Sometimes things just click, and it's like you get rid of something that wasn't helping you. Maybe the stevia in my coffee in the morning. I don't know.
Yeah.
You get rid of it. The next day you're feeling like you're on cloud 9.
But I think it's healthier to have expectations of it's going, like,
yes.
I'm patient of the time it's going to take.
Right.
Versus expecting it. Like, I'd rather expect it to come way down the line and then be pleasantly surprised.
1,000%.
Versus being let down.
Yes.
Right. So that's a really good note.
Yeah.
I have one on here that I like really wanted to. I just brought up people pleasing, right? And if you've been listening for a while, you know that that's totally a tendency I lean towards. And I just want to make a note that I learned that not every decision you make is going to be liked by others, but don't let that stop you, because people pleasing is going to burn you out and make you really confused of what your inner knowing even is. So when you catch yourself asking everybody around you, I don't know, what do you want? I don't care. Maybe you genuinely don't care, and it doesn't matter if they make a decision, and whatever, if they have a stronger preference, awesome. But if you are like constantly in that cycle and everybody around you makes decisions for you and you never really have a say, you're going to lose sight of who you are and what you actually want pretty quick.
Yes.
And I made a note of like, not every decision you make is going to make like others happy. And I think that I started to learn that, and I had to be okay with it when I did start to take my decision making back. When you're a people pleaser, you're kind of afraid of letting someone down, right? So then if I say, I'm going to use this as an example. Madison's like, do you want to go to the beach? I take that as Madison wants to go to the beach, so now I feel pressure to go to the beach. But if I don't want to go to the beach, there's no harm in me saying, I don't really want to go, but if you want to go, great. Right? That's pretty fucking rudimentary.
Yeah.
But for someone who is in a pattern for years of like, I'll go to the beach because Madison wants to go to the beach. No, that's fine. That's what Madison wants. Do you see? Like, it's just so backwards.
Yeah. Yes. And I think that it's good for me to have this perspective, because I'm typically not a people pleaser, but I've almost had to lean into it, because I think that there are situations where pleasing those that you love around you is a necessary part of life.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, we're talking like, do you lean one way or the other?
Yes.
And like, is it extreme where it's a detrimental pattern for you?
Right.
It was for me, and it still at times can be.
Mm-hmm.
And you're the first one to witness it. You're like, whoa, hey,
like, how about you just say
slow
no?
Down. Slow down. No, you cannot do that right now. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, I agree that at times opening yourself up and going with the flow to help someone else feel good. If it doesn't really matter, then what's the big deal?
Yeah, like I've had to learn that. So it's almost your lesson, but in reverse for me. Because I could just stay on my own lane forever. And then I think, oh my God, wait, there are also other people here. Let's like, tune into them. Actually, I'm so sorry. Yes.
I've been alone for 2 weeks. Just reading books and going to yoga and going to the beach.
And saying like hi to a few people, and I'm good. Yeah, no. So we've had to sort of, change our course a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I like it. I like that change.
And then I'm the opposite. I'm like, I haven't been alone in about 3 weeks.
She's like, I haven't been alone in the last 6 years. So I'm starting to feel a little crazy, but I don't know.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, exactly. Do you guys think I should have alone time?
I just can't decide for myself. So can you please?
Fuck. That's a good one. Okay. One for me, which I told Tess this one the other day, is this one's personal for me, is to not be ashamed of my big appetite for food and for life. And I always put those two together because when I had my eating disorder and I wasn't eating a lot of food, it cut off my life force. Like I was too restrictive. I was in my own way. And now that I have opened my world up with food and nourishment, it's completely changed my life. And so also to add to that, I don't even know. We were talking about this with representation of how women eat. I don't think that I have a healthy representation of that, whatever that even looks like. I don't even know actually what that looks like. Sometimes I find people on Instagram and I follow them because I think, God, they have it together. Like they're fueling themselves well with whole foods and they're not over exercising. They're healthy. They're really fertile. They have a bunch of kids, crushing it. They live on a farm. I'm like, yeah, okay. Some examples are healthy, but for the most part, I did not grow up with females who had a healthy relationship with their body, I feel. So I've had to actually learn that and I'm still learning it. And I think that I just eat a lot of food. Like when I view my family, like the Butines just can eat. And I was ashamed of that for a long time. And that's why I restricted myself from eating. And now I'm not. Like now it gets better every day, So yeah. It's my little one.
Tangent.
Yeah.
On the topic of following people on Instagram because they showcase a life that you idealize.
Yeah.
We can use them as a source of inspiration, right?
Totally.
But we cannot use them as a direct source of comparison or even our end goal because as we all know, it's just what they're choosing to showcase. And I think if you are trying to, like, you're obviously listening to this episode, maybe because you love us and you're close to us and you just want to support, but there might be a demographic out there that's listening because they genuinely need the advice. And so I'll say this for you. Not everything is captured. Not everything is shared or shown. And I know you know that. But when you're alone in your bedroom and you're scrolling on Instagram and
they're in Mykonos.
Yeah, and they have a completely different life than what your four walls are showing. That is so hard to get your grip on. So maybe detox a little from social media. I mean, still follow Cowboys.
Yes. To be fair, we don't even really post a lot of stories that could be misconstrued. We usually post what we're actually doing all the time. But yes, I know where you're getting at because a lot of times there is that unhealthy comparison on Instagram, which is literally why I do not go on it. Especially if I'm having a hard day and I need some stimulation for my brain. Instagram is not the place for me.
Outside.
Yeah, outside.
Is like your outside are the people you love. Those are your cures.
Yes, like even yesterday when I was reading a lot, it was Sunday, and I was reading a lot, and I just thought, okay, what is going to help me feel like, it's not that I felt bad, but I just needed something. Like I needed to be outside of like these four walls. And so I was like, let's just try to go for a walk. And it was exactly what I needed. Like listening to that little piece of intuition from whatever that source was within was so powerful. I felt like invigorated on the walk. I was like, this is what life is about. I'm looking at trees. Like, this is fucking sick.
90% of the time, what you need is a walk, from what I've learned. Maybe that's a point too.
It is.
If you don't feel good?
Go for a walk.
Go for a walk. You got period cramps?
Dude,
go for a walk.
That's like when I used to grow up. Yes. I used to grow up and my mom's thing was always drink more water. Oh, you feel nauseous? Drink more water. And I just thought, okay, drinking more water is not going to do it for me. Mine will be go for a walk. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my mom's go for a walk.
I understand.
I'd be like, oh my God. Oh, I just feel so shitty. Shut up. Come on. Get your shoes on. I'm waiting by the front door. Let's go. And I'd be like so miserable. I'm like, I just got home from school. I don't want to go for a walk.
The last thing I want to do is go for a walk, especially as a kid. I'm like, no, I just want to sit here and be on my phone.
Thank God for her drilling that into me.
Yeah.
Because it created the habit that I love maybe the most.
Dude, I think about that with hiking and my parents. Thank you, God, that you put me on the trail in that little backpack as a baby. I was meant to be in the hills.
And now here we are about to go hike Half Dome this weekend.
That's right.
Was it your last one? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I can go again if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. This is on the subject of rest, and this is a lesson that I'm still learning, is prioritizing the health of my nervous system over productivity. Although I do believe that if you do prioritize the health of your body and nervous system, kitschy term, but if you do, then you can be actually your most productive. But I want to view rest as medicine and nourishment the same as I do for actually intaking food and exercise. Like those are pillars for me, and rest it's not so much, but I'm learning I want it to be a pillar just like those other two. So
has to be. It's the balancer.
Yeah, that just was not even in my vocabulary in my 20s. And this year, 29, has been so monumental in my evolution as a human. And that is just a pillar that I want to embody. Like I do want to embody that relaxed woman archetype. So, yeah.
Sometimes I just sit there and I listen and I nod.
And she's nodding, and then I think, I don't know what else to say, but that is end thought.
Yeah, because sometimes the thought is complete and I don't need to add to it.
Yeah, agreed.
So then I'm just babbling about fucking nothing. So I'm just going to leave you on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I'll move on to a different thought. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay, great. This is a good one. It really is up to you.
Yeah.
You've got to create it all. If you're like us, you're not going to be handed it.
Yeah. Unfortunately not.
It would have been nice.
It
Mom.
would still be nice, okay? Just going to put it out there.
Yeah. You know, for the most of us, you're not going to be handed it. And you've got to go create it from scratch. You've got to put yourself out there. Right. What is it that you want? Think about it. Get inspiration. Go on Tumblr. Go on Pinterest. Go on Instagram. I don't know. Get your inspiration from wherever the fuck you want to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have to harness that and you have to go. What does that mean for you? Is that applying for a job? Is that taking a course? Is that, you know, joining a women's group that does like cool shit and hikes on the weekends and they share it? Like, what does that look like for you? And then go do it.
It's so true.
All of this, while this is humble, right? This isn't like anything super grand. All of this we've had to create.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm hopeful that it just continues to get better from here. But if you just kick back and relax and expect it without doing any of the effort,
yeah,
I'm not gonna. Maybe not. It might.
It honestly might. But yes, totally. There are cases.
Yeah.
But for the most part, yeah, I would agree. You got to go and get it. It'll
after it. Good when you go after it.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't. You're in the trenches and it actually sucks. But then
when you get it.
When you get it, of course, when you get it.
But the journey should also be.
Yes, but I'm just putting out there that sometimes it does suck a little bit. But then it's an ebb and a flow process.
Sometimes you're in the middle of your workday and you're like, oh my God, I gotta go get on a microphone right now. And then you go get on a microphone and then you're done and you're like,
wow, I feel so good. That could be applied. Just zoom out. What's the bigger picture? Why are we on the microphones? You know, what good does it do? A lot.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, great. One for me is, well, I have a lot. There's so many. I could just like rattle off.
Go for it.
Well, one, don't be ashamed of being different. For some reason, not for some reason, I feel like that's a really difficult thing for some people to grasp. Me specifically is I have always wanted to be this perfect being that, you know, whatever it is that people look up to, are inspired by, which sometimes makes me want to be more uniform as a person, but I just am different in a lot of ways. And I want to embrace that fully. And I have more so than ever. But I think that that's something that I would say to my younger self is just don't be ashamed to be different. Be passionate about what you like and you'll attract people that way. And if you don't, that's also okay because whoever is meant to be on your path will be on your path. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Okay, keep going.
And then another one is be present more than you already are. So again, I body scan, I stop what I'm doing multiple times a day and I look around and I look in my room or wherever I am and I'm just like, God, I'm so grateful for this. But I want to even hone in more on that skill, because I think back to when I was 23 and times felt really difficult then, but I miss them. There's some nostalgia that I have for that time. And I think, God, if I was only more present and realized one day you're going to miss this. So like, feel what this couch feels like, look at your friends more, just be present. So that's a big one. Yeah. Okay, you want more? We already focused on this. Trust your intuition. Obviously, intuition's a big one for us over here at Conscious Cowboys. And I say listen, because I think that that's a lot of what intuition is, or just understanding your intuition and your inner voice. In my journal, I write listen in every entry, because I just want to listen. Not only does that help me be present of like my surroundings, like actually listening, but just listening within and asking myself questions.
For me, I've realized that intuition is a feel. Like instead of listen, I would write feel. Like, what does that feel like? Like, do you have a reaction to that? And you would say, well, then listen to it. But for me, it's like, well, then feel it. Like that doesn't feel right. Then
yeah, no, it's good. And I had another thought on listening, but
oh my God, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I ripped that rug.
I want your, you know,
Thanks.
I don't know,
My
your
thoughts.
words. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I guess it kind of has to do with listening, but continue your journey, or maybe we haven't started it, with self-development. Continue your journey with that constantly throughout life. And I think that's actually what my entire 20s was. There was so many ups and downs, and I kept having so many lessons, which I don't think I'll ever stop learning lessons. And that's just what life is about. And if I'm taking like an excerpts from Women Who Run with the Wolves of like, you have a death cycle. Like there always is like a rebirth, and then there's a death and rebirth again. So I think reminding myself of that, and actually having the tools now and the verbiage that makes me aware of like, okay, sometimes things just need to die and you need to let them die, like accept that change and embrace it. But there's always something that's going to start anew, like always. And thank God for that, you know? So I think just that constant reminder, and again, developing that muscle of self-development and evolution with self. I'm excited to see what's going to happen, honestly. Like, let's go 30s.
Let's fucking go. Okay. Is there more? You're on a good thought train.
I do have a lot of thoughts. Okay. This is an easy one. Rejection is redirection. Being rejected sucks sometimes,
but you can't be afraid of it.
No, you can't, because that's
cares?
life.
Yeah.
Also, it just is life, and it's almost laughable at this point. You know, like sometimes when things happen, I'm just like, all right, well, if something better's coming.
Exactly. If I think back to what has rejected me in my past, there are times where like I'll be talking about it with Madison, and I'm like, thank God.
No, thank God that didn't happen.
Oh my God, I thought for sure that was it.
Yes.
And thank God it wasn't. Yeah. Because look how much better this is.
Yes.
Like, wow. That was naive to really think that I needed to cling on to.
Right. It's so true. That's so true. For some reason, an example that comes up in my mind is, remember when I was applying to that gym in our hometown?
God, we did a whole episode about
We did. And I was rejected from that. Thank God I was, because that culture just was horrible. But I think about that a lot, because that rejection was so intense on how their reaction was towards me and who they thought I was. But it makes me happy, because I'm like, dude, that was a redirection and it ended up totally fine. And I'm actually happy that I didn't go down that road, even though that's a very small thing, but it was a significant blip in my timeline. Just because I'm like, damn, I can be received that way sometimes. All right, we gotta alter that a little bit. So yeah, interesting. Okay. Next is, more is not always better. Dude, it just is as simple as that. A lot of times I want to keep adding things in, and I get obsessed with doing so. I need to be better. I need to add this and that. A lot of times stripping it down to basics is actually the best thing you can do. So
less is more. Guys, the only time my skin was ever, we'll use skin as an example. The only time it ever healed was when I started washing with filtered water. That's it.
Right.
Not a single product in my cabinet, filtered water. That's what fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
My gut, you don't have to take a bunch of supplements. You just got to like peel back on things that are irritating you and then let it do its job and then start reintroducing shit.
Yes. That's a good example. Another one that I have is just a reminder, actually, is that, and I would remind my younger self this, is there's so much more that we don't know about ourselves. And also to add to that is anything can happen. And I think of anything can happen in, yes, let's be prepared for things to potentially happen that are not our favorite, but also anything can happen as in anything is possible. And that's a really cool thought. And it keeps you moving, especially on days when you're too zoomed in and you're focused and catastrophizing. Zoom out a little bit.
You don't know who you're going to meet.
You don't. Anything could change. You get a job opportunity next week that has you flying to Italy. I don't know.
You don't know what idea is going to pop into your head or what you're going to see that's going to spark this. Like who you're going to meet that you're going to have a podcast. You don't know. So putting yourself in that spiral of like, this is how it's always going to be. Like we already talked about it earlier. Life is always going to change. So why not start perceiving that it's going to change in the upswing? Like it's going to only get better from here.
Yeah.
And shit's going to happen that doesn't align with that thought.
Right. Again, with just be prepared. That stuff happens and that's just life. Yeah. And I saw a fly. And it's not my favorite.
We got a fruit fly infestation.
Yeah,
but
we kind of do.
We'll keep it on the DL.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get a little mad about it.
But do fruit flies have anything to do with the cleanliness of your home? Because that's where we get upset about it. It's because we're really clean people, freakishly clean. Actually, I would say. I
will turn the camera that way and this way so you can understand. You would be
impressed with how great our apartment looks at all times. It just is the way, and it is clean. We clean a lot, but the fruit flies, I don't know. But I've seen them in Lazy Acres. I haven't seen them in Jimbo's. Not
These
just
are
standards.
Luxury markets.
These are really nice markets, and I've seen them flying around the mangoes. And you know how many mangoes we have in this house? They're going out of season. You guys get them quick. It's worth the flies almost.
Tips for your 20s: eat more mangoes.
Yeah, exactly. Tips for your 20s: you could say that local produce. Find what's in season in your town. Helpful. Yeah, the more you know. Sometimes ignorance is bliss, okay? Sometimes I choose to be a little naive, but knowledge is also power.
I'm wrapped up. I'm good.
No, I'm good too. And again, I could share 1,000 other things, but I think that I feel good about that.
We're both learning new languages, and what we've discovered in learning a new language is that you have to segment it. You can't go in and learn the language.
The fly goes in your eye.
I'd be so mad. But you can't learn the language all in one sweep, right? Like you have to break it up and digest it. And so I think while all of us could go on a huge rant about all the life lessons we've learned, sprinkle them in here and there.
And we do sprinkle them in. Each podcast episode is a lesson we've learned at this point, you know?
Honestly, guys, if you're wondering how we structure episodes, it's like, wow, we just went through that this week. Let's talk about it.
Yes.
What's the lesson? Let's extract it here.
Right. And since we started this, 3 years ago, it's pretty much lessons in our 20s.
Is it 3?
4, maybe. We're coming up on episode 200. Who actually knows? But we'll have to do a count on it, actually.
Yeah, we'll have to look at our original published date.
Yeah. And wrapping up, today, we have a few days until Half Dome, which means we're going to be hiking 17 miles. We're going to be in Yosemite. So beautiful. We'll take a lot of pics and videos. We're excited. I feel ready. The only thing I need are gloves for the cable, and that's it.
Okay.
So let's fucking party.
Rock on, you guys. That's nerdy.
Dude, I used to do this all the time. Me and my roommate Gina, like we would just look at each other and be like, yeah.
Yeah.
I think adding the rock on really did it for you.
That's why. I know. I was just like, can I erase this? I have to address one more thing.
All right.
It's regarding my feet. So it's 80 degrees in our apartment. We did turn the AC on, but I'm not going to put shoes on. I know Sweet Madison feels like she has to cover her feet. Thanks for everyone who's commenting about our feet. I'm glad you're enjoying them. You're not allowed to call my feet big.
Yeah, but they have a contrast in there. They say her nice, big, slender feet. So, but they like it. I mean, I don't know.
She
doesn't have big feet.
No.
There's a normal size for her height.
Yeah, but it's like you could leave the big part out.
Right.
You know?
She disregarded everything in the comment and just said, big?
Yeah, I was just like, what the fuck? He said big?
Yeah.
Now, to reiterate, we don't wear shoes on the couch. On a normal basis, we do it because we feel like sometimes we have to.
Yeah, I just don't want the comments about my feet. But then also, these shoes are slippers, and I've never worn them outside. So, yeah.
But we don't need to talk about feet anymore. I just wanted to make sure that was known. Like, my feet aren't big, and you can't call them big anymore.
Okay. Good for the disclaimer.
Thanks. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get more views now because you have your feet. We definitely will.
It's definitely not my intention. My intention is that I'm running really warm today.
Dude, it's so hot here.
I don't want to put shoes
city.
on, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I fully agree.
Yeah.
And whatever. We're not making a feet finder, so that's just it.
Okay, thanks you guys. Have a great week. Thank you for listening to our life lessons. I think episodes like this are so fun.
And it's also so good for us.
They come from like, we really had to learn this shit. And like by learning it, it wasn't like, oh, that was one time. It's like, oh, that revisited us 8 times before we actually nailed that one. Okay.
At least 8. That happened consecutively for the last 3 years. And I finally have learned it.
That was 8 years.
Yeah, exactly. That was actually all 10 years of my 20s.
But yeah, I just want to say thanks. Genuinely, thank you for being here and listening. You guys showing up every single week means the world to us, especially if you've made it this far into the episode, that like you're actually paying attention.
I know. Thank you.
Warms my little heart.
Yeah, me too.
Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're following us on Instagram and all the goods. And we'll see you after Half Dome.
Yeah, let's go. Maybe we'll learn some other lessons. I think we will, honestly. It's going to be an really cool little journey.
It's gonna be a journey, that's for sure.
It is. Let's go.
Okay, we love you guys. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Talk soon.